1980s. While the world was engulfed in the tension between the US and the Soviet Union, with political leaders making decisions that would shape the future of nations, there was also a shift happening in German motorsport competition. Car manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz were entering their own battle, facing off against BMW and Audi in a new automotive segment, entry-level sedans. Let's imagine the situation Mercedes-Benz engineers found themselves in. They were facing the challenge of creating a sedan that at the same time didn't compromise on the high standards of quality and safety for which the brand had always been known. And in addition to that, it had to be sporty. Not an easy task. But how did this process unfold? What did the German engineers do to take on Audi and BMW? Today I present to you the E190 Aero. Prologue. Before we go any further, we need to take a quick look at the history and rivalry between the three German giants, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, as it will help us understand why the E190 is one of the most remarkable Mercedes cars in history. Audi is the oldest automaker of the three. Its origins date back to 1910 when August Horch founded Audi Automobilwerke GmbH after leaving his original company due to legal disputes. In 1965, Volkswagen acquired Auto Union, which included the Audi brand. After this acquisition, Audi benefited from Volkswagen's investments and technology, improving its quality and innovation. This partnership strengthened Audi, allowing the development of new models and advanced technologies. Perhaps Audi's most iconic model is the Quattro, one of the first mass-produced cars with all-wheel drive. The Quattro helped establish Audi's reputation in rally competitions, but I'll tell you more about that story in another video. BMW was founded in 1916, initially as an airplane engine manufacturer during World War I. After the Treaty of Versailles, which prohibited Germany from producing aircraft, BMW shifted its focus to motorcycle engines and later to cars. One of BMW's most iconic models was also created in the 1980s, the 3 Series E30, a compact sedan available in several versions such as 4-door, station wagon, and coupe. Mercedes-Benz, the star of this video, is the newest of the three brands, having been founded in 1926. One of its founders, Carl Benz, patented the first gasoline-powered vehicle, while the other founder, Gottlieb Daimler, pioneered the development of the internal combustion engine shortly after Benz's patent. So the three brands were founded around the same time, and it's natural that a fierce rivalry would emerge in the luxury car market. Each of these German brands has its standout qualities. BMW is known for its sporty, dynamic approach focused on performance and drivability. Mercedes is renowned for its luxury and comfort, combined with cutting-edge technology and safety. Audi is distinguished by its precision engineering and modern styling, with a strong emphasis on autonomous driving technology and advanced entertainment systems. Now that we understand who the three main automakers are, let's see where the E190 fits into this rivalry. Chapter 1. The beginning of the E190. The story of the E190 began in 1973. Mercedes-Benz was brainstorming ideas for a vehicle in a segment below the classes already established by the German brand, the S-Class, high-end sedans, and the SL, sports cars. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the US Congress enacted fuel economy standards following the oil crisis. Automakers whose fleets were too gas-guzzling would have to face fines. With this in mind, Mercedes put diesel engines in all its existing sedans. At that moment, this was more of a temporary solution than a permanent fix, as the real German solution was to design a new, more efficient car from the ground up. The Mercedes-Benz team spent 8 years researching and developing the car. They invested over £600 million, approximately $750 million into the project, and in 1982, they finally revealed the Mercedes E190, affectionately called the Baby Benz because of its compact size. This car was designed by Bruno Sacco, Mercedes' chief designer at the time.
Erstmals ist es gelungen, Mercedes Funktion und Mercedes Qualität in einem kompakten Fahrzeug zu konzentrieren. Ohne Kompromisse.
The car was equipped with a variety of advanced technologies for its time, including traction control and stability systems to improve safety and performance, as well as a 16-valve engine developed by Cosworth. All of this represented a big shift for Mercedes, which had always been more conservative. Its shape was streamlined, with a sloped rear windshield and a short, high trunk to improve aerodynamics and keep the car compact while still providing reasonable trunk space. Under the surface, innovation continued, with high-strength steel throughout the car's structure, as well as aluminum and polycarbonate in less structurally critical areas, all with one goal: to reduce the car's weight. Additionally, a new family of four-cylinder gas and diesel engines with aluminum heads made its debut, and double insulation protected both the occupants from engine noise and the electrical components from heat and weather. And Mercedes learned from the lessons of their own revolutionary engineering. The E190 became the first production car to feature multi-link suspension. To put it simply, cars with multi-link suspension are equipped with a more sophisticated independent suspension system designed to offer better wheel movement control and more stable handling in various conditions. The result of this new multi-link suspension, which is now standard on all three major German automakers, was a car that truly offered the road stability and driving comfort found in an S-Class in a package that was 12 inches shorter and 550 pounds lighter than the base E-Class model. Mercedes wasn't playing around with the E190, and these numbers prove it.
New levels of driving exhilaration and satisfaction, obtained by no other car of similar size and weight.
Initially, Mercedes-Benz planned to compete with the 190e in the Group B rally category, and for this, a 2.3-liter turbo sedan was developed for longer events, and a hatchback version of the car with a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter engine with 4 valves per cylinder was created for events with tighter tracks, like the classic Monte Carlo Rally. Remember when I mentioned the Audi Quattro earlier? Well, after Audi released the Quattro in 1980, Mercedes concluded it would be pointless to compete with a rear-wheel drive car, while Audi was offering an all-wheel drive car. As a result, Mercedes canceled its rally program. An interesting fact is that Mercedes management prohibited further development of the race version of the E190, but stubborn Mercedes engineers quietly continued working on a street version of their 16-valve engine. Would that be enough to create a small, sporty Mercedes for the public, one that would be ideal for competing with BMW's offerings? Chapter 2: Cosworth and Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes engineers built their own 16-valve version of the new M102 engine for the E190, but it didn't generate enough power for rally use, so they turned to British company Cosworth, which had pioneered 4-valve heads in the mid-1960s with its legendary race engines. Cosworth had also developed a proprietary thin-wall casting process, so the company ended up making the heads in England and sending them to Germany for machining and assembly. Cosworth engineers were given free rein by Mercedes to design a high-performance head suitable for the engine, along with forged alloy pistons. After several changes, the street version went from a modest 122 HP to 185 HP without increasing displacement. The car in which this new 16-valve engine was installed was called the E190 2.316, and it received a series of other updates, including an aerodynamic kit that featured bumpers, side skirts, fender flares, and even a rear wing, all of which reduced lift by more than 40%. New, wider tires mounted on integrated alloy wheels were also added. Future models would come with these wheels as standard. The chassis was updated with reinforced suspension, larger sway bars, lower and stiffer springs, and shock absorbers, while the drivetrain gained a 5-speed gearbox and a limited slip differential. Additionally, an oil cooler was standard, as were oil temperature and voltage gauges inside the car, a digital stopwatch, Recaro sports seats, and a steering wheel that was 10 millimeters smaller, but still large. Mercedes had created a monster. The car was among the fastest sedans on the market at the time and was far sportier than any other street Mercedes since at least the 1950s 300 SL. To highlight this, Mercedes organized a series of demonstrations to showcase the 2.316's performance. The first of these was a 201-hour endurance run around the famous Nardo Ring test track, located in Nardo in the Apulia region of southern Italy. The Nardo Ring is a track with an impressive feature. It's visible from space, and astronauts have photographed it multiple times. It's a test track for race cars, 7.8 miles long, and slightly banked to reduce the amount of active steering required by drivers. In other words, it's like an endless straightaway, shaped like a circle. In addition to driving for an incredible 2:01 hours, another impressive record was the number of miles covered during that time. The E190 covered 31,000 miles. That's just over one complete lap around the Earth, all at a constant speed of 155 mph. In May, the new F1 circuit at Nürburgring was opened, and to christen the track and highlight Mercedes' new sports sedan, a race of champions was held. 20 lightly modified 2.316 cars were driven by some of the greatest race drivers of all time. All but 5 of the living F1 champions participated, and the entry list was packed. Alain Prost, Stirling Moss, Niki Lauda, Jackie Ickx, Phil Hill, James Hunt, and Emerson Fittipaldi. But due to obligations with the Indianapolis 500, a then unknown young driver was substituting for Fittipaldi. His name, Ayrton Senna. The track was exactly how Senna liked it, slippery and wet, and that was all Senna needed to show his talent in front of champions and future champions like Alain Prost. The race was tightly contested, and Senna traded the lead with champion Niki Lauda, but in the end, the young Brazilian won, showing his immense talent to the world. At that moment, we also saw the class and performance of the E190 and its start in Chapter 3, E190 in competition. As soon as the 5,000th example was built in the spring of 1985, the car was homologated, and private drivers began preparing and racing it in the DTM, showing that the cars were quite competitive. Although without Mercedes-Benz's support, the drivers were winning